Okay guys, bait making series. Let's just jump right into this. We're going to try to make this video short and sweet. Things that Rather Be Fishing Tackle is going to supply you as the basic staples. Our dry bait fish foods. There's 3 of them on the market right now that are in stores and available on our website. You got Trophy Game Fish Blend, Multi-Species Blend, and Feeding Frenzy Blend. They're all different pellet sizes. They're all for carnivore type fish. Pellet size is about how you want to run it. Works on everything from, I've caught everything from perch all the way up to salmon on these. So, and everything in between, literally. And not just me, but plenty of people that have helped test drive this system. So, krill mill. These are dry ingredients. Krill mill, oatmeal grind, and rice grind. When it comes to making your own bait, you're going to see the importance of these and why we use them. Frozen ingredients, look in the freezer section. In stores that carry our products, or check us out online, trying to figure out how to ship these and do it reasonably so you can start creating your own blends of bait. The ground herring, it's a tough one for us to get. The ground smelt, you may not see this in stores, but this is something you can do yourself. I'm going to show you some pictures of some herring that you can find pretty much in any bait store. And you can actually grind that up yourself and start making your own bait. I call these staple ingredients because we sell a bait puck that's going to have this exact recipe that I'm about to show you in it. So, guys, big bowl. The reason I use a big bowl is because when you add the extenders, the rice grind and the oatmeal grind, it's going to start absorbing a lot of the juices. Don't ever throw any of your juices out from a can of corn to a can of tuna fish. Now, right in the bowl. Distilled water, because I want everything out of the bag. And don't be afraid to add a little bit of fluid to this. You're going to see here in just a second, we have a rice grind and an oatmeal grind that's going to help absorb all that extra water that you're putting in there. And when I say extra fluid, I mean get everything out of the bag. You paid for it, get it out of there. And don't be afraid about adding too much water because the rice and the oatmeal is going to absorb it. And not only that, but it extends your bait. Ground smelt, protein content, lots of oils. Look in your freezer section for the corn, the smelt, and the herring. Same thing. Going to take a whole package and put it in there. The corn comes in 1-pound packages. Once again, I'm going to take some water. I'm going to put it in my smelt. And I want to get all them juices, all them oils out of there. Ground herring. Ground herring. Same thing, I want all them oils, all them juices, all that stuff that's going to help draw fish into me in my mix. So I simply add some distilled water. Try not to use chlorinated water. You can let water sit out, etc., but you guys will figure it out. I just use distilled water, it's simple. Okay, you guys how to save a little bit of money making your own bait. And you'll see the twist in that in the end. Everybody's like, well, it looks expensive on the shelf, but when you guys see just how far this goes, and the money you can save from buying other baits when you go fishing every day, you'll see the end result. So I'm going to mix that up a little bit. Whole ground smelt, whole ground herring, and ground up sweet corn blend. Look at that in the frozen section. Other awesome things that we're going to add to this recipe. This is a big can. This is tuna fish. Tuna in water. You pick this up just about anywhere. Any of your big stores are going to have it. Tuna in oil, tuna in water, or sorry, tuna in water, tuna in oil. Tuna fish, huge part of what you're doing. Now you can throw that in a blender, grind it up, which I actually recommend. You can open it in the can, stir it up with a fork. It really depends on the consistency that you want. How I do it is I just blend it up with a fork. Okay guys, tuna fish. This one is in oil. I want to save every bit of the juice. It's going to help bring fish into you. So every bit of the juice. Same thing, tuna in water. I want to save every bit of the juice. It's all part of the scent line that you're going to create. Just going to take a fork and mix that up. You can throw this in a blender if you want it pureed. Works pretty good either way. It's totally your call. Just remember, it's got to come out the gates in the back of our system, or however you're making your bait. Maybe you're not using our system, but you want to make your own little bait balls. And you can make this as thick or as thin as you want. It really doesn't matter how much water you add. It's all about using the extenders and the binders that we mill up for you. Our dry bait, these were full pellets a minute ago. I just beat the packages with a rubber mallet. The packages are super tough. Crush them up into everything from fine particle size. The finer, generally the better, but it's up to you. They are going to dissolve a little bit, but rubber mallet in the package, just beat the heck out of it. I'm going to add about half a package of each one of our blends. Okay guys, the krill mill. Fish love this stuff. The more you add, the more fish you're probably going to draw into the area you're in. So I'm going to use 4 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And still got a ton of it. There's way over half. These come in 3-ounce packages, krill mill does. I'm going to stir that in. Once again, it's going to rest for a minute. Stir it up good. You want to make sure you get that krill mill distributed very well throughout this, because you want that krill mill flavor. You can add more if you want. This is just what I do for the pellets that are in the store. If you're having a real finicky bite, the more you add, sometimes the better. It just depends on the fish's mood, but they love krill mill. Just stir it up good, let it rest. At this point, it should be like almost a soup. If it's not, add some more water, do whatever you want. That's the cool part about making your own bait. Hey guys, now we're gonna add this rice grind. There's everything from flour up to quarter, half-ish size pieces of rice in here. The best way to think about this is like a quick rice. So, 1 pound package, that's how these come. I'm going to start with about half of it. And you'll notice that I've done about half of all these other packages. That's actually going to absorb that and swell. So make sure you got plenty of room in your bowl. We're going to mix that up. And we're going to let it rest. The reason we're letting it rest is let it absorb all of those awesome flavors. Never pour out any of your juices, save every one of them. Save every little bit of it that you can. All those juices are part of your scent line. Help bring the fish to you. That's what it's all about. That's what our whole system is about. It's help bring the fish to you. I'm just going to stir it up and let that rice absorb all of those awesome flavors that are in there that the fish are going to love. So we've added our rice. This is rested for a good 30 minutes. You can see it kind of thickened up, swelled up a little bit. There's still a little bit of liquid in there, and that's actually important because we're getting ready to add our last binder and extender. We're getting ready to add this. Everything from flour size to bigger size. It's actually an oatmeal. It's going to help absorb the rest of that moisture and thicken it as well. Bait maker tube. I take one end off. This is the one that does not have the through hole. The one that has the through hole is for expansion. Okay, so our tube is filled up. I'll leave about a 1/4 inch on the top. Put some tape around the bottom. This one does not have a through hole. This is the top cap. It actually has a through hole all the way through it. I place that on the top. Simple as that. This one, I'm expecting the bait to span and push that cap off. Couple little pieces of tape pushes the top off. It's not going to make a mess. Stick that in your freezer, this side down, keep it up. There you go, simple as that. Freeze this, we'll cut it into pellets. You can throw it in your scent line system and catch fish. It's that simple. This is them after the freezer. The first batch anyway. It wasn't all 9 pounds. That's literally just 4 pounds, but Got a bunch more over here. I'm going to show you what we do here in just a second. So, like I said, it's going to pop the top off as full as I filled them. That's your expansion. That's what's going to happen. You can see it didn't go anywhere in my freezer. It literally just pushed the top off. How do I get the bait out of there? I simply put this in the sink and I run hot water over it. I take this cool little wooden dowel that I got. You don't have to have the rubber ends. It just helps me. And push it up from the bottom. Or I should say push it up from the top, sorry. When I heat it up, these caps come off, the tape comes right off. The cap that's on the other end, as soon as it's warm enough, it'll come right off. I put my wooden dowel on this end and I push it out the other way. It comes right out. I throw it on a cookie sheet like this, and then I'll take it out. I have a bandsaw that I cut them on, and then I'll drill a hole in them. I cut them into 1-inch slices like that, and I put them in a 6-pack. That's what you'll find in the freezer section. If you guys are doing your own, you can cut them to whatever size you want. Depends on what tube system you have, the 3-inch or the 5-inch, whether you're running the tube system or not. This one just happens to be just ground smelt. Works pretty good sometimes as well. So once I do cut them up, just fill cookie sheets up, and then I go through and drill the holes and I package them up. Let's jump into the cost of making this batch of bait. We ended up with 9.5 pounds of actual bait when we're done. That's going to last me roughly 8 to 10 days of fishing, and that's if I run 2 tube systems and I fish all day long. A tube system on each side of my boat, whether I'm running the downriggers or if I'm just running the bait tube hanging right off the side of my boat. Bank fishing, you're actually going to get way longer than that. So, what did we start out with? 1 pound of corn, 1 pound of ground smelt, and 6 ounces of ground herring. We used 2 9-ounce cans of tuna. One was in oil, one was in water. We used 4 tablespoons of krill meal, 1 pack of ground rice, which was 1 pound, 1 pack of oatmeal, which was 1 pound. The dry bait fish foods that we used a half a pack of each of the blends that we supply right now, which is trophy game fish, multi-species blend, and feeding frenzy blend. You can add whatever else you want to that, but that's our basic recipe. Distilled water is an extender. You can add that to extend your bait. You would simply add more rice and more oatmeal to thicken it back up. But you can really make your bait grow with just water and these basic ingredients. So, rough cost of everything put together is about $83.45. We'll call it $85 just to round it up. So, how does that save money? Well, that's 8 to 10 days of fishing and running 2 tube systems on your boat. You could cut that down if you ran your gates open the entire time, or you could lengthen it out by closing your gates down. Speed and water temperature really depend on that, but an average is 8 days running 2 systems, 1 on each side of the boat. You're going to get about 8 to 10 days of fishing out of it. So, traditionally fishing in the past, minnows, leeches, and worms. And I'm just going to talk about walleye fishing because that's what I do the most right here local. Minimum $20, $25 a day at least on minnows a day. Leeches the same. Worms the same. So we're talking at least $60 a day. So 60 times 8, that's $480. Well, is there a cost savings? What's the difference between $85 and $480? Yeah, you guys figured out. Did we save any money? I think we did. And not only that, but this actually brings fish in, so everybody on the boat's catching fish, or the people hanging out around the bank, like your friends, your family, whatever, they're catching fish too, as long as they're right by you. But this draws the fish in. It's that simple. You guys seen the ingredients. Everything that we put in there is actually healthy for the fish. It's going to grow bigger fish, so we can all catch bigger fish. So that's it in a nutshell. That is bait making wrapped up. You guys have seen the pellets. You can put those right in the system. Maybe you don't want to use our system and you just want to make the bait. Well, a couple things that you really can't find anywhere are these 2 guys right here. The oatmeal grind and the rice grind, just because of the particle sizes. And that's done in-house. Another one that's really tough to find is a krill meal. Yeah, you can find it, but when you have to buy a huge container, it's way expensive. Um, our fish blends, same thing. You can buy them in other places, but you have to buy huge quantities, and it's expensive. So we tried to break it down, make it affordable for everybody. So hope everybody appreciates this. I do appreciate you guys watching it, and all the orders that have been coming in. Can't say thank you enough. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your patronage, for sure. And tight lines. Let's catch some more fish, some bigger fish. And thank you.